banger. Whoa, you ain't on my level, you ain't on my level. I make shit too easy, self out to the devil.
Greetings, I'm Kamson, and I'm going to be doing an oracle reading for empaths who have been survivors or maybe even still dealing with narcissistic relationships or narcissistic people. And so that's what this reading is going to be centered around. And because my specialty is showing you the areas where you can turn pain into purpose, that's what we're going to focus on. So we will be focusing on how can I turn my pain into purpose in regards to narcissism, all right? So what message did the narcissist unintentionally teach the empath? There's a spiritual lesson in everything that happens in our lives. What spiritual lesson? I'll take that. Kind of jumped out. Okay, so the spiritual lesson was alchemy. I have Nefertiti. All right, look at that beautiful picture. Now, y'all already know Nefertiti, she was very much so what we would call an alchemist, which is basically taking any situation and turning it into something else. And that's what we're talking about. So I'm going to read to you about Nefertiti and then take what applies and leave what don't. You know, everything won't apply to everybody, but I feel like this is going to apply to a lot of people, even maybe people who didn't resonate as being an empath before this reading. So let's get into it. She is the goddess of alchemy. Her origins is Egypt. Her temple is the queen's and her element is fire. Nefertiti was a legendary Egyptian queen whose name means a beauty has come. Celebrated as a goddess and her husband's equal, Queen Nefertiti led a spiritual revolution worshiping Aten, the sun god. It is time you turn everything that life throws your way into gold. You are on the path of fulfilling your purpose. You are an ancient alchemist. You have the power to bend universal energy. Dare to transmute lead into gold by shifting from fear into love. Everything you desire exists in some form of loving energy. Match this frequency. See it in your mind's eye first. Imagine it. I am loved fully. What does it look, taste, and smell like to be loved unconditionally? I am happy and healthy. See it. I am a money magnet. What does it feel like? A lot of these things around happiness, being healthy, even money, oftentimes we judge our current situation to be the final outcome of everything that led up to this point, and it's not. It's kind of like taking a score to a basketball game and you just now in the first half, you haven't completed the game. So you take the score and maybe because you losing, you pack up your bags and you like leaving the gym, you like done. Just imagine if in life, right when you're about to get that breakthrough, right when you're about to learn how to turn the pain into purpose, you quit and you give up. And I feel like a lot of empaths going through the age of Pisces, we attracted people into our life that matched the frequency of being a wounded healer because that was our focus. Whether you went through religion or not, or maybe even still dealing with some of the religious beliefs, even if it's just because of your family or the people that you're around or where you work could be very religious. Going through those faith-based social constructs where the belief was my life is to be poured out as a sacrifice for others, right? Like, it's selfish for me to take care of myself. And so we attracted people, maybe even parents, that felt threatened by us taking care of ourselves. And so oftentimes, you can characterize this as having a narcissistic parent, but ultimately, I feel like the word narcissism is like loaded with a lot of toxic meanings, and it negates from the fact that narcissists are products of trauma as well. So I think it's really important to shift that, because if researching information about narcissism, if you don't realize what the energetic frequency is that you operate in that attracts narcissists, you will find yourself going in circles that you really don't have to go in. So some lessons coming back around to us with this new moon energy coming, I feel like a lot of the things that we've been working on, we're about to be tested on it now. Maybe you already are experiencing these tests. But it's important for you to diagnose your own energy and why you're a vibrational match for that energy. And some of those reasons could be maybe you compulsively care for other feelings before your own. This could be unconscious. You may not be aware that you do this. I've done it so much where it's a practice behavior. So it's embedded in my subconscious program for me to do this. So I actually have to become more conscious about considering my feelings before helping other people. So that would be some of the things that you could shift your focus to. Everything can be turned to gold. Every single thing can be turned to gold. I'm someone who not only was an empath, but I was born in some pretty complex childhood conditions, and I've been able to overcome it all. So, don't look at whatever is showing up in your life now that seems to be misaligned as a judgment on you, your character, or even anybody else's. It just does not serve us to look for every single crack, in the people around us. Because really what happens when you're empathic and maybe even codependent, other people's needs matter more than your own. You're hyper vigilant and you're scanning your environment and everybody in it to figure out why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And if you look for it, you'll find it. But sometimes you could be feeling the way you're feeling for multiple reasons. And so you want to, if you have the tendency to ruminate on what somebody else said or did to you that may be a reason for you feeling the way that you're feeling, this might be a good time for you to just pause and say, okay, they said that, they did that, and there was a trigger, there was an emotional reaction within my body. In the past, I would have said that they were just being mean to me for no reason. I ain't did nothing to them. But now, I'm not going to even judge whether or not what they was doing was mean or not. I'm just going to focus on what the feeling is that came up in me. I'm going to observe that feeling, be curious about it, journal, and when I'm done, I'm going to use one of my activities to release it and shift into a new thought, shift into a new frequency. Every time you change your thoughts, you change the station that you're tuned to. And so the goal would be over time for you to get less and less attuned to what other people outside of you is doing and how it impacts you, and focus more on the internal. Focus on the internal aspects of why you may be feeling the way that you're feeling, and use those moments as practice for you to become a master of your emotions. And if you want some help doing this, the OBB challenge, it's a 7-day challenge, and it helps you. OBB is the out-of-body experience, where I use the abilities to intuit into situations, to feel into the body, and I walk you through the questions to ask yourself, what to journal, so that you can start putting some space in between other people's energetic frequency and your own. And as empaths, we do have a tendency to get enmeshed with other people's emotions. And now that we're on the new earth, right? On the new earth is like You have to have boundaries, but it's difficult to have boundaries if you can't really put enough space in between the triggers to isolate where the boundary needs to be. So some of us might be putting boundaries around other people in our life, but haven't really put boundaries around the way we talk to ourselves when nobody else is listening. Maybe we haven't put boundaries around the way that we spend our money, what we spend it on, how we feel it when we spending it. For some of y'all, just pull back from getting on Amazon when you're feeling away or feeling down, because you may find yourself overutilizing retail therapy to feel better. And then later you just like, why did I spend that much money on that? What was I thinking about? And I'm speaking from experience here. So, pull back from that and just find a new way to be with yourself and to shift out of that energy when you're ready. So the narcissist has actually been helping you to become a master alchemist. And it feels so much better when you cannot remove these situations, persons, places, things from your life. It makes a huge difference when you can find a reason to be grateful for the experience, even as it's unfolded and happening. Because with this new moon energy and with Pluto, it's going to be a lot of endings and beginnings, and our relationships are being rearranged to serve our highest purpose. That don't mean that it feels comfortable. Alchemy hardly ever feels comfortable. However, it becomes more pleasurable the more that you practice it. And when you know, like, I got my tools, I have my strategies, I can deal with anything that comes up, I can trust my intuition. A lot of us developing stronger intuition, learning how to intuit the energy behind words is going to help us. We're going to know where people coming from, and we'll probably notice, like, this is not personal. This person is wounded and something happened earlier today and they still in that energy, and I just so happen to walk through the stream, but I don't have to hold on to it. I don't have to drop an anchor in their part of the ocean. I can swim into another consciousness if I want to. That's power. So I kind of started channeling there, but yes, so tap into that. And I am open for reading, so if you want to book a reading with me and we can work through some more personal, I create routines for my clients in the readings. And so create a routine that'll support you being able to do this. And so what happens is, even though you're irritated and frustrated and get triggered when things happen, you're excited to try these new things to help you work through it. So yes, that is the highest alchemy. Just looking at a lot of trends that I've been seeing with other readers, checking into channelers and astrology. Another thing that I'm noticing is that a lot of empaths are becoming more empathic. And I mean, if you have, let me just say this. If you grew up feeling like it wasn't safe for you to express how you was really feeling unless it was something that was pre-approved by the family, them pre-approved feelings and reactions. Let's just say yours was something different. Maybe you usually was, the one who got hurt by things because you were more sensitive to energy. And sometimes that can show up as being the bad kid or the troubled kid or the sad kid or we get all of these stereotypes put on us as children, like this is what it is to come into the earth school. So let's just say you were empathic as a kid, but you were not supported in expressing how you really felt. Well, you have practiced most of your life putting illusions around your own feelings so that you don't hurt other people's feelings. Pushing it down, pressing it down, pushing it back. Maybe even subconsciously telling yourself, like, you don't have right to be angry about this. What you mad for? You ain't perfect. Yada, yada, yada. The inner critic get to going, right? This is what I call the inner persecutor, right? So if that's the case, becoming more empathic, DNA being activated, new strands being activated, Our telomeres even changing. Some of us had shorter lifespans, and now we made new soul contracts that have longer lifespans. As all of these changes are occurring, the sun is definitely churning up 6 solar cycle. Like, it's really sending a lot of energy to us to be more enlightened. So with that comes more awareness. And as that is happening, maybe you're picking up on thoughts that you have been trying to ignore. Maybe you've been feeling like some of your relationships, or maybe your career, or maybe your relationship with your children is changing and you're not quite sure if you like where it's headed. You know, all of these things. Maybe you're becoming more telepathic because you're becoming more sensitive to energy. If you don't spend time nurturing the feminine principle within your own beingness, intuition is going to feel very uncomfortable to you, and the messages that your intuition is sending you, you will repress, shut down, or misread. So if you're reading the messages through feeling like a victim, because I know that was a struggle for me. Most empaths do deal with feeling like they're a victim to their circumstances, because as empaths, we kind of get the advanced program of Earth School. And because we feel things more deeply, we have a tendency to be affected more deeply as well. So even though we can ignore it for a little while, at some point that repressed energy is going to show up. So I'm working with the Exploring the Empaths Oracle for this, because my empathic abilities have strengthened so much so that I can even smell something and it communicates a message to me. I can touch objects and it communicates a message to me, and sometimes it's about the last person that touched it. Just things that my mind really was not really aware was going to happen to me is happening. And so repressing my anger is some emotions we feel more comfortable with than others. Anger, I don't feel comfortable with it. I saw outbursts a lot growing up, and so it just made me feel like anger was just a toxic emotion, but it's not. It's not. You know, if somebody get stabbed with a fork, the fork isn't toxic. The person who was using the fork was toxic. So how I use my anger matters more than whether or not I get angry. And because of that fear around anger, I would judge when I would get angry. And so I would find a lot of ways to deny my own self from experiencing my own anger. And guess what? I attract people into my life who also are uncomfortable with anger and will oftentimes subconsciously try to manipulate me with niceness and try to distract me from my anger or overcompensate in a way so I don't remain angry. And I have done these things as well. And these are hallmarks of people who have codependent traits. So I'm going to pull a card and see what is the message for empaths right now. I feel like now more than ever, we can level up. And empaths are the salve to narcissism, which means your existence is going against the grain of the fabric that created the social construct of the 3D matrix. So you are going to feel more, and you are going to have these situations happen where you're picking up on nuances of things that nobody else may not be aware of. And if you are the kind of person where you need to be validated externally because maybe you lacked that growing up as a kid, well, now you validate your own self. So instead of calling somebody or looking for somebody to amen and ashe to whatever it is you're thinking, feeling, and going through, you give it to yourself and be like, no, I validate this. I validate this feeling. I validate the fact that I know I'm picking up on other people's thoughts and I'm absorbing other people's emotions sometimes. Okay, now what? And what? Right? Message for empaths. Ooh. It was was you and I didn't pull you. Hold on, come back around. So the focus is to focus on manifesting the future. Manifesting the future. This is interesting because in my personal reading today, I was given the card to focus on clearing the past. And you know, you can't manifest the future unless you have cleared some of the narratives around the past. So if in the past you were victimized in some way, and everybody has been, and you're noticing certain things coming up in your life now, and it may be a sign that it's time for you to work through some of those experiences of the past so that what you're manifesting in the future is in alignment with your heart. Knowing the future will be a brighter place than the past. Doing work every day to keep the ball rolling in a positive direction. These are some of the essentials. Gaining trust in the universe that everything is going according to plan. The imagery. This visual is, the man in this picture has gained control over his destiny. He is mentally building his future with his thoughts and sending his ideas to the universe to manifest in front of him. As you can see, the man in this card is looking directly at you, the reader. As your eyes meet his, remember that you are the center of the universe, your universe. An ancient occult truth that has been rewrapped in modern terminology is the law of attraction. We attract experiences and life lessons based on our vibrational state. Our thoughts help create the lives we experience. Our thoughts hold great power in directing the flow of our experiences and our responses to life's ups and downs. As virtually all spiritual paths affirm, you are a spark of God or gods, goddesses. You are spirit experiencing itself. You are the great architect of your life. We have the unique opportunity to choose which emotions and thoughts we nourish and to recognize those that do not serve our greater purpose. Life can be incredibly confusing at times. When we sensitive souls look to the future, it may not always be clear, and this can be a source of anxiety. We may see glimpses of our likely future, yet we know what it awaits. We know that it awaits determination. Sometimes all we can do is trust in the universe and try our best while we're at it. One thing to be certain of is that the future will eventually become the present moment. Each present moment is built upon the last. The manners by which we live our lives moment to moment are building blocks that form the future. Just the same, the foundation we laid in our past has formed our present experience. The way we respond to the world around us and the conscious action we take thoroughly crafts our experiences of reality. Let's choose to resolve the past in order to create a brighter, more compassionate, and more abundant future. Now, here are some suggestions for actions that you can take. By staying grounded in the present, we can lay down one stepping stone at a time to create a future that nourishes the soul. Just as the body takes time to heal from an injury, it takes time to align our spirits with a positive future path. You may consider creating a vision board. Somebody like, I said I was going to do that. Yes, do that. Or affirmation board on which to focus regularly. If this board displays realistic manifestations, the brain can naturally become wired to these expressions, and our life experiences will naturally flow. For empaths, our greatest purpose is intricately connected to helping others in this world. It cannot be understated that selfless acts helping others within our own means is a profound remedy to help resolve difficult baggage from the past that we're still hauling around in the present. When we truly strive to help others, we put aside much of our own personal weight, personal emotional weight, so we can engage and provide perspective to those in need. This assists in forming our future. The thought that I was having while reading this was of the thoughts that we nourish because we're nursing our wounds, but not in a healthy way. So think about the way we've dealt with healthcare up to this point. Someone like me and having a bunch of surgeries and a lot of medications, like that was the only way that was known to me. Once the new information starts to come in, where there's a period from gaining that information to actually utilizing it. Now that I'm utilizing the new information with more holistic ways of healing, it's like I got one foot on one earth and one foot on the other at the same time. So when you're manifesting your future more consciously, you will invest more time and energy into the foot that's positioned, moving in a direction you desire to go in. Where your attention goes, energy flows. So if your attention is constantly being re-triggered to focus on that which you are ready to let go of, you're gonna invite more of that into your life while you're simultaneously trying to move in the other direction. So now your energy is to split, and you're investing more energy in the foot that's in the back versus the foot that's in the front. So it's just learning the divine dance of manifestation. A lot of us are trying to manifest a better future, but we're ignoring our body in the present. Maybe because sometimes other people have a tendency to rush us or cause us to feel like whatever their needs are is more urgent than our own. And so we have practice ignoring our body, not really tuning in to what our body needs. That's a great place to start. That's your temple. So if you're manifesting a future of bliss, you want to spend more time doing things that nurture and care for your temple, for your body, for your vessel, for your vehicle, right? Because that's a frequency. And if you're not attuned to that frequency because you're not really focusing on things that bring you bliss and bring you joy, and the more you try to focus there, you will be challenged to be pulled the other way. But this is ultimately the way we create our spiritual resilience. Our emotional, mental resilience. So it's like, okay, I feel that, but I'm not going to focus on it, right? I'm not going to invest, 5 minutes. Okay, I'm done with that. Now I'm going to spend 15 minutes of tending to my skin, tending to my hair, this is for everybody, tending to the aches that I've been ignoring. Maybe I'll take a BC or find me something to eat. That's a common one. I'll eat to distract myself from the discomfort that I'm feeling. Maybe you need to take more naps. Empaths need naps. Empaths need naps. When I do not take naps, I am not functioning as my best self. Nowhere near it. And I had a lot of negative preconceived beliefs around taking naps as an adult, because I'm like, I shouldn't be taking a nap in the middle of the day. I should be working hard, like I've been trained to do, and other people got a 9 to 5, and even though I work from home, like it's a little selfish of me to take a nap. Like, y'all, this is a real struggle for me. And in my codependency, while trying to take a nap, when I would finally make the decision to give that to myself, I would still struggle with the thoughts that would sometimes create a feeling of guilt. Like, look at you. You are here laying down, napping, and other people are out working hard and this, that, and the other. You know, like, you just lazy. You just lazy. You just don't want to work. Man don't work, a man don't eat. Like, this is the station, right? And I'm like, I hear that. Now, let me play this audiobook that is going to tell me the exact opposite of what you're saying. And then I choose which one I'm going to invest my focus into as I'm going off into my nap. And I'll shift my focus. And I'll end up having a dream of something that gives me clarity and direction, because guess what? I invested in my focus on what was going to move me forward. So, you know, hating and having a disgust and dislike for the things that pull you backwards will actually lead you to being pulled backwards more. So yeah, just finding a way, be creative and find a way to be with whatever is coming up. With this Pluto energy, y'all, in Capricorn, I'm talking about, I be feeling dread sometimes, and I don't even know why. I can feel the timelines merging and things shifting and changing. Sometimes I feel like I'm living double lives. It's just really strange, but you don't want to judge. If you're going through your spiritual awakening, and there are many phases, and we have videos about that here on YouTube, but you know, you will go in and out different phases. And the practice is to not judge any of them, but observe and learn from them. If you're judging it and being critical of it, you can't learn from it. When I stopped judging my fear of naps and why I would get so filled with anxiety when I would finally lay down and my mind wouldn't stop, I discovered that I still had some more work to do with healing codependency. And that thing inside of me that says that I'm not a valuable woman unless I am constantly cooking, constantly cleaning, making money, like all these hallmarks of a successful woman. If I'm not doing those things, then I'm not worthy of what I want. And so it was a fear of not being worthy of what I wanted. And it was also a fear of being afraid how other people would see me. I learned something valuable about myself. Out-of-body experience. I observed what was coming up for me. The emotion taught me something about myself, which led to stillness, led to being still. That's something you create within. So you know, just work on that. Take you some naps and see what come up for you. Knock, knock, knock. Okay, so now we're going to get into some practical ways we can be grounding this with messages from spirit for us. What have your intuition been trying to tell you, empath, and you maybe have not been listening? What is that thing that maybe you have not quite interpreted to be a truth for you? What are the tools, strategies? What is going to get you to accept what's happening in your life so that you can receive the beauty that you are learning to create for your future? Yep, that's been a theme today. Here we go, back into the underworld. I've been complaining about my knees popping, so I guess this reading is like, okay, well, we're going to pop them knees today. We're going to work them knees a little bit. After the storm, I love when this card come up. Look at the owl. The owl is like, look, it's been a storm, but I am not out of place. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, and everything is working out for me. The owl has a lot of symbolism around it. And it's actually one of my first spirit guides that came to me. So let's talk about this after the storm. There's a thunderstorm about, and it is either headed your way or it's just passing through now. Don't make a thunderstorm mean more than what it is, though. You don't have to fear it. You don't have to fear it. You might even feel excitement about it. After all, a thunderstorm is just nature's way of gathering energy together that needs to be released. With the release of tension, relief, and freedom soon follow, often with a fresh perspective and perhaps the gift of a promising, hopeful vision for your future. Perhaps the particular storm building within you or around you is causing you to quicken your boots. It might be a storm of building emotions, threatening to erupt or already exploding, seemingly beyond your conscious control. You might feel an uncomfortable sense of emotional or psychological pressure within, and if something doesn't happen and soon, you fear you might just burst. You may also sense that these are forces operating beyond your control, and you will be right. There is, in life and in the creative process, a need to allow for wild storms. There will be those precious moments of peace beforehand and the release and revitalization that follows. Yet the storm in the middle is essential. It is a natural part of the creative process. Without this building and releasing of energy, we would suffer from boredom and stagnancy. You may prefer the excitement of the storm or the fresh, open feeling that accompanies its clearing. You may find it confronting to be faced with the power of something in which you can only participate rather than control. Either way, the storm wisdom offers you the gift of bringing things to a head and clearing them away so that the energy can be freed from a pattern that has had its day and it's ready to become something new. Sometimes the pressures that fuel the storms of our lives have been building up for a long time without us being fully aware of it. It might be pressure from our own minds, creating unnecessary burdens upon us, such as burdens of fear or self-doubt. It could be pressure to appear a certain way or to fight against life out of a mistaken belief that this is necessary for survival. Sometimes the pressure is little more than the impossible dream of perfection and need to gently or even with great dramatic flourish cast that aside so that you can dare to be what you are and create from your heart. Even if you are not sure what the storm is about, don't lose confidence in your ability to successfully bear its progression until you are safely at the other side of the experience. Even amongst the chaos of change and in moments of anxiety, know that you have so much light and trust in your heart that you can see the storm is but a passing process and nothing that need worry you. If you can't sense the storm yet, this oracle is important for you. The storm is coming and you can, if you wish, feel the beautiful, exhilarating gift of it as you are empowered to cast aside what has been and receive the gift of a fresh new take on things. Your confidence is to remain intact. Whatever is happening or soon will happen in your life, this storm of sorts is transformational and supportive of your growth. It's going to clear away cobwebs and free you, open you to new creative energy and life. Remember, there can be no rainbows without the rain. This oracle is also a confirmation that if you've been praying for help, your prayers have been heard, and the great creative intelligence of our universe is responding to you, stepping in and shaking things up so the situations can be sorted out according to a greater wisdom. So let go. Hold only to your inner self and allow everything to be cleansed in the sacred storm. Find a place where you can be alone, have some privacy, either inside or perhaps outside in nature. And when you are ready, repeat the following. were possibly with your arms up and open to the sky. If you want to pause this and come back, you can do that. Just listen to it and then come back and repeat. It's fine. But I'm going to read through this. Storms so wild, storms of grace, I call your blessing into my heart now. May I release and let go. May I be revitalized and grow. I open up my heart to you now. Storms of grace, I stand my ground as I allow your magic to cleanse and surround. Any outgrown energy which I no longer need, anything which will sap or deplete rather than feed. Storms of grace, merciful earth, with your help, I experience rebirth. And when you have completed this declaration, simply place your hands in prayer at your heart. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in and out. Those words my natural reaction was to breathe in and out, but just breathe in and out. Visualizing that you are breathing in these words from your heart and exhaling anything that is excess and not needed. Feel what's happening inside your body, from the top of your head to the sole of your feet. For words are our wands, and it creates our reality. And then you can say, through divine creative genius, this is now so. Well, this was a beautiful reading. As soon as I got up this morning, as soon as I finished my morning routine and breakfast, I was just like, let me go ahead and do this now. I didn't do it yesterday, being in integrity. I'm just not going to work just to put out content for the sake of trying to keep to a schedule. It just doesn't feel like it's going to be beneficial to do that anymore. I'm honoring my energy, and I'm only creating when I'm inspired to create. And this ultimately revitalizes me as an empath and keeps me from having empath burnout, being drained. And we used to be able to just run on fumes for fuel. We can't do that anymore. We're not being called to take up our office and do what we came here to do on fumes. We need more than that, right? So this was the first reading of its kind. I waited till I was inspired to do this reading for empaths, and I will continue to do this reading for empaths because I want to shift this trend that I see happening with figuring out how narcissists have affected your relationship, but not really figuring out what you are a vibrational match for so that you can change it. And what is the purpose in the pain? What did it offer you? What spiritual lesson was in it? Ultimately, that's what I will be shifting a lot of the conversation to. This has many different branches, and you may see me talk about some of the things in the Black and Brown community that I see are physical manifestations of the trauma transgenerationally. It might seem like the topics aren't connected, but they all are connected indeed. So I want to thank you. I may be doing an extended reading today. Yeah, I want to see what Kali has to say about this, and I'm not gonna upload that here. I'm gonna put that on Patreon. But I am going to do an extended reading today, and I want to delve more into this because it feels complete, but it doesn't. It feels like it's like something else that we're supposed to know. So I'm about to do that. Thank you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Visit the website, nuverselive.com. It's a whole universe for people going through spiritual awakening with information, with tools, strategies, support, private groups. And you can just really go over there and just be your best self. All right. Namaste, namaste.